Hey guys, Greg at Best Choice Trailers. We just pulled a DJX 14-foot, 14,000 pound out of the shop a little bit ago. I wanted to show this one to you because it's a little bit unique in that it's got a 3-foot high side, but it's got the flare sided sides. Give you a good angle of it. A lot of equipment standard, that 3-foot side with the flare side would be the primary option added to this unit. It's available with 7K or 8K axles. Shown here, this unit weighs just shy of 5,000 pounds. It's going to give you a net legal payload of 9 plus your tongue weight. Tongue weight to the truck typically is going to be 15% or about 2,000 pounds. So total, you're going to be probably just under 11,000 depending on how it scales out on the axles. Let me take you for a walk around this. There's a lot of standard equipment on this trailer, and just wanted to kind of point everything out as we go. From a price standpoint, Max, a little bit of a price premium over, I'll say, our average trailer, but really not that much, especially if you try to option all the equipment on this onto something maybe more of a midline. You're going to end up at a higher price point, and some of this stuff's actually not even going to be available. Starting out up front, it's got an adjustable coupler. You've got a 2 5/16 inch Demco cast adjustable. It's a self-latching if you've never used it. Little details like the zip breakaway, standard. Also like the front heavy-duty faceplate coupler. You've got your integrated safety chain holder. 12K jack is standard. You can also option to a hydraulic jack if you want something a little bit fancier. Now, one nice part about Max is wireless remotes are standard equipment. I'm going to use that in a second. So if you do a hydraulic jack, it's actually going to be a 4-button remote, and it'll be built in to that. Huge toolbox built into a mono I-beam frame. So when I say mono I-beam frame, you'll see this tongue is going to go all the way to the outside, not your traditional stacked tongue setup, which is going to come inside and then overlap with your main frame. A mono frame has some benefits. One of them would be hitting all the way to the outside of the frame is going to make it stable. You're able to control that load a little better, but besides that, it's also going to give you a huge spot for a toolbox. So you've got monster toolbox, 2 compartments, so all your goodies from the plant are in the back. You've got your pump. This is a KTI pump. Now, one thing that I can kind of show you here, we'll put the trailer up when you hold it the right way. So I put it up just a little bit, and what I want to show you is this guy right here. A lot of trailers don't have this, and the ones that do, most folks probably never know what it's for. But if you open that, this is a manual relief valve. Say you've got a battery that's, you want to save some battery, you're most of the way dead, you don't want to lose any hydraulic fluid, you can actually crank that. Now what it's going to do, it's going to open both solenoids so that fluid, instead of basically pouring out into the reservoir quart there, it's going to open up both and basically act as a bypass. You can also do the same effectively with the gravity down button on the remote. So most remotes are just going to be power up, power down. This is also going to be a gravity down. Interstate deep cycle battery, it's a group 24. You've got a NOCO charger. Now this is a 5-amp charger, not a 1 or a 2. The wireless remote also has not only your 3-button, but you've got a backup. You've also got a gas shock on both sides. Some boxes don't have a shock, and you got to worry about opening the lid, letting it flap open, etc. This has a gas shock. You've got slot for your cord to come through, and then of course you've got big box up front for straps, chains, binders, extra fluid, whatever you'd like to carry around. You got plenty of room. Little details, troubleshooting guide built in. I like that because we do get folks that ask us questions, and certainly we're happy to answer them, but this allows them to, I'll say, be somewhat self-sufficient on some of the routine problems, but more importantly, if they can't get us right away or whatnot, and they've got a, say, a low battery situation, you can go through and see what the common causes are. The 110 volt charger certainly would be the key though. Most of the, I'll say, calls we get that folks think are issues, a lot of times just need a battery to be charged. I-beam frame, of course, you got your gusset coming back. The frame to your side step. Notice it's got nice serrated step for traction. Your tarp kit. Now this is a aluminum sail bar. A lot don't have a sail bar. The ones that do oftentimes are going to be black iron, so a little bit nicer. Also ball bearing standard equipment. You got a spring loaded latch, you can fold back. Got uprights on the sides, but again, 3-foot side. We like it for a couple reasons. One, the FLAIR side has a press brake built in, which is going to give strength to this sidewall on a high side. It's also got a very, very heavy duty rigid top rail. So between the bend, just like a house foundation, that bend's going to give additional strength to that sidewall. Then you've got this heavy top rail and you've got your vertical uprights. Also, this side is a 10 gauge side. Some in the industry are going to use 11 or 12 or 14, or they're going to do it with a straight wall. You got a lot of strength out of that side. Gonna get out of our shop's way here. While I'm back up front, on the jack, if you've never had a 12K jack before, fairly simple. You got an inner and an outer leg. The inner leg you would adjust via the pull handle there. It is spring loaded, so turn your head if you're in loose stone or whatnot, so you don't get any stones flying at you. But tons of adjustment on that jack leg. No need to carry around a wood block or similar. Toolbox is a lockable lid as well. You get your keys on the toolbox lid. Weep holes built into the corners. I didn't show you that. And I do like everything's neatly mounted. There's actually a separate mounting plate. You've also got a tray for a second battery. I can't say I've ever actually noticed this before, but it looks like this one actually has an extra gas shock, which is pretty cool. I don't know if that was something somebody left in there, but first time I've seen that. But anyway, clear lens LED lights gives it a nice look instead of your traditional lights. We've optioned this with a metallic gray paint instead of a wet black. Just think it gives it a nice look. When I think of a Max, this is the color that I think of, not black, but you can get either. In fact, there's other optional colors available as well. You've got a tread plate double broke fender. Double broke gives, of course, extra strength. Gusset up front protects you. Fender gusset in the center. And then another little detail, you can see it easier with the bed up. Support on the I-beam right at your slipper spring suspension, which, speaking of, that's got a wet bolt on it as well, so you got a grease zert on there. So a lot of smart design. You've got, reinforced fender. You've got extra support to the frame right where it needs to be. And well, speaking of the frame, I'll show you this in a second. We put the bed up. They're using an 8-inch 15-pound beam. So industry normal started as an 8-inch 10-pound beam. And now what I'll call heavyweight manufacturers do an 8-inch 13-pound beam. This is a 15-pound beam, guys. So this is the same beam a lot of manufacturers are going to use on super single 10,000-pound axle units. So again, pretty heavy build. If that's what you're looking for, this is a ticket. Westlake rubber. Tires do tend to change over time, but Westlake is a name we've had for probably 14 years now. Been very happy with their stuff over the years. We see less of it. Not, I'll say, because it's going away, but because it's a bit of a premium tire, and most brands just aren't willing to, I'll say, spend the extra money that it takes for a Westlake. But great tire wheel assembly. Forward self-adjust brakes are standard. Of course, like most every trailer, it's going to have easy lube hubs behind that cap, so you can do your own bearing maintenance. You've got holdbacks for your door. To hold your door back. You've got 3 hinges on the door instead of 2, being that it's a 3-foot high side. One thing that's not typically standard that's on this is going to be stabilizer jacks. So stab jack standard, you've got your combination spreader gate. Of course, you've got zerts on your hinges there. You've also got, for your sail bar, you've got a receiver at the back. You've got slide-in ramps, standard equipment. You've got center markers, stop, turn, tail lights, and then you've got an extra marker to the outside. Plenty of adjustment on your ramp itself. This is a full height cam bar lock. I do like that as well. Some just pin them down at the bottom, but this supports it all the way to the top and bottom. A little bit heavier duty latch. I like how it's done. It's also got a retainer for it as well. On the ramps, instead of a 3-inch channel, that's a heavyweight 3-inch channel. So typically what I'll call a normal 3-inch channel ramp, typically they're rated to 3,500 pounds a piece on a 7-foot ramp. Heavyweight channel, I don't know that I've ever seen a weight rating, but typically if a manufacturer ever uses them, typically they'll do it on I'll say an order. You can order them heavier duty. Typically it's what we put on, like a 16K GVW or more, but that's standard equipment on these. So you've got your heavier 3-inch channel runner ramp. Of course, your side step. Let me go ahead and, or your rear stabilizer jacks. I'm sorry, this 95-degree heat's getting to me. Spare tire mount on the passenger side. Like the way it's done. If you look at the surface area weld on that, it's pretty slick. As we put this up, a couple things to look for. One, it's got a nestled bed frame. So if you look here, this bed frame is sitting inside the I-beam. That's what we're going to call a nestled bed frame. So traditionally this would sit on top, and that's going to get you 4 more inches of height. We want to be lower to the ground, so it's going to nestle inside. Instead of a roughly 32-inch deck height stacked on top of each other, nestled inside, you're going to get down to more like a 28-inch height. So take a look at the scissor as we go up on this. Typically trailers are going to get about a 45-degree angle depending on the hoist. On all maxed trailers, you're getting an oversized hoist. Industry standard for many years on a 14-foot dump is a 5/16 scissor. We sold them for years. They do what they're supposed to do. We actually have a YouTube video, probably got 1 million hits on it by now, showing us dumping a 5/14 scissor on a 14,000 pound dump. That was a load trail probably 10 years ago. It works. It's a good hoist, good commercial hoist, but a 5/16 scissor pretty much does what you need to do and doesn't give you a whole lot of extra capacity. A 5/16, which is not what's on this, that's what I'll call the industry norm, is a 6.9 ton hoist. 14K trailer, typically is going to weigh about 4. With tongue weight, you're going to get about 5.5, 6 ton legal payload. This one weighing a little bit more, you're actually going to get a little bit less payload, more like about 5.5. But that 5/16 hoist we tested did it. Even tongue heavy, it would dump about 6 tons. An upgrade hoist would typically be a 6/16 or a 5/20. They're rated to 8.5 tons. That would be plenty of hoist for this size trailer. Well, not Max D. On this one, this is a 6/20 hoist. This is an 11-ton hoist system, which is a little bit crazy in my opinion. It's a roughly 5.5 ton payload trailer, but again, that's how they've done it. With the 20-inch, you're going to get more stroke. With more stroke, you're going to get more angle. And the other beauty of it is if you've got the, I'll say, longer stroke on the scissor, you can shorten up your overhang at the back because you can still get plenty of leverage. So you'll notice this thing has a pretty crazy angle, but you're also getting lots of clearance at the back. If you've got an undersized hoist, hoist needs to be placed farther back, and then generally you're plowing dirt at the rear end. So kind of best of both worlds, and it all starts with having an appropriate sized or oversized hoist on the trailer. But again, it's a 6/20 scissor. If you want to see all the specs and be wild and bedazzled, there's a chart on Premium Supply, seller of hydraulic parts and components. They've got a PDF there with all your weight ratings if you want to geek out on scissor hoists. But again, this is a Max 7x14 DJX, 14,000 pound. You can get this in a gooseneck, or you can do 8K axles. You can do 12, 14, 16 foot length. I believe right now we've got all those in stock in this FLAIR side. FLAIR side would be on a 3-foot high side. Tons of different available options, a lot of options standard, so probably less options than maybe some other manufacturers because, again, a lot of stuff here is all standard. Oversized hoist, your wireless, your jack stands, your metallic gray color, your heavier beam, etc., etc. If you have questions on this or any of the other trailers that we stock, feel free to give us a ring at 717-220-4220, or you can visit us on the web at bestchoicetrailers.com. Thanks for looking.